Hey guys, John V here with Phone Arena, and this is our first look between the HTC U12 Plus and the Apple iPhone X. So the Taiwanese company is hoping to change its fortunes as the HTC U12 Plus is out to redeem itself as a formidable flagship smartphone that can stand toe-to-toe against Apple's best, the iPhone X. Apple's flagship is unmistakable from a far glance, but more importantly, its glass meets stainless steel frame definitely gives it more of a substantial build quality than the HTC U12 Plus. On top of that, it features a smaller footprint that makes it easier to handle using one hand. What's really interesting is that paint jobs don't necessarily carry a phone's design as much as other things, but in the case of the HTC U12 Plus, you have two particular paint jobs that help to polarize its design over the iPhone X. And that's the translucent blue and the flame red colors of the phone. They're without question attractive to the eyes, and they definitely conjure up something we don't see in the iPhone X's two color options. Now, neither handset offers a headphone jack, but it should be noted that the HTC U12 Plus features a slightly more water-resistant IP68 rating versus the IP67 certification of the iPhone X. Over in the specs department, the HTC U12 Plus features a 6-inch Quad HD Plus Super LCD 6 display that's 1440 by 2880 pixels, while the iPhone X has a 5.8-inch Super Retina OLED display at 1125 by 2436 pixels. There's naturally a lot of detail delivered by the two displays, but the HTC U12 Plus display exhibits noticeable distortion when you view it at different angles. It's not a distraction when you're looking at it head-on, but if you look to the sides, you notice it right away. Then again, you could say the same thing about the notch on the iPhone X's display. It could be an equal distraction of sorts, just because it kind of breaks up the uniformity of the display. But to its credit though, it does accommodate that superior face tracking technology that you don't get in other phones. It's that age-old comparison between Android and iOS here. They both pretty much accomplish the same basic functions, but HTC does implement some novel ideas to its experience. You have things like the Edge Sense features, where you could squeeze the phone to different degrees, and you also have this new double tap feature as well. Meanwhile, with the iPhone X, it emphasizes heavily on a gestures-based user interface, and initially it takes some time to get acquainted to, but for the most part, it follows a very straightforward experience. When it comes to processing power, it appears as though both are equipped to handle even the most intensive stuff. The iPhone X is powered by 11 Bionic chipset, and we know that it's very exceptional and flawless with all sorts of applications. With the HTC U12 Plus, it's powered by the Snapdragon 845 chip. It has a great amount of responsiveness from what we could see, and you know it's going to also handle gaming very well. With the HTC U12 Plus, it starts out with 64 gigabytes of storage capacity, but you can expand that with a micro SD card slot. With the iPhone X, unfortunately you can't expand its memory, so you either have 64 or 256 gigabytes of storage. Both phones feature dual camera systems. On the back of the HTC U12 Plus, you have a 12 megapixel wide-angle camera, and then you have a 16 megapixel 2x optical zoom one. In contrast, the iPhone X has a pair of 12 megapixel cameras, and it breaks down to a wide-angle f1.8 lens and a telephoto f2.41. Obviously, you're going to be able to produce those sweet-looking portrait shots that are pretty much signature features right now with most dual-camera implementations. It's really tough to gauge right now which of the two seems to be better than the other, but those who prefer a bit more control with how their compositions will turn out, they'll want to stick with the HTC U12 Plus because it's accompanied with a deeper set of modes and manual controls. And even though it's pretty neat that the HTC U12 Plus features dual front-facing 8-megapixel cameras, for those portrait shots with selfies, we know that the iPhone X is capable of doing the same thing with its single 7-megapixel camera. The HTC U12 Plus packs a 3500 mAh battery cell that's significantly higher than the iPhone X's 2716 mAh battery, but we'll have to pass judgment once we're able to put the HTC U12 Plus through our testing. It's worth mentioning though that the U12 Plus lacks wireless charging, which is a convenience you're going to find with the iPhone X. As we know, the iPhone X is the most advanced iPhone to date, but it carries one of the heftiest costs out there, commanding a starting price point of $1,000. Now, HTC intends to capitalize on that because the U12 Plus will launch here in the US with a starting price point of $799. The $200 difference between these two phones might not seem like it's a lot, so it'll be interesting to see how consumers perceive HTC's flagship at that price point. It's certainly competitive, especially with the savings you'd get in the process, but we're crossing our fingers that the HTC U12 Plus can perform strongly in all the same areas we see with the iPhone X already. And that is it for this quick first look video, guys. If you want to learn more about either handset, you can check out our website, phonearena.com. This is John V, signing off.